This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.
Yes, sir. There he is, the man, the myth, the legend that is Alain Poupart from Sports Illustrated. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Yep, I'm good. Yourself?
I cannot complain after a double root canal yesterday. I think we're all right. I was having a lot of fun yesterday. That was fun. That's all I can say.
Always.
Yes, always a lot of fun. All right, so let's get into it. You agreed with what I was talking about with Sean, right? That it's kind of McDaniel's in a tough position with the backups, with the backup to the backup, right? In the preparation of the week, that it's hard to count on.
I think all along he's got to go forward with, imagining that Skyler is going to be the guy, and would be a nice change if the backup quarterback actually played the entire game without having to make an in-game change. I mean, Jesus.
Yeah. And I was thinking about this when Skyler started scrambling. The game opened up a little bit more for him because obviously, dude, he's a young quarterback. To read the defenses, react, or I don't know if he has really anticipatory skills yet that are the kind that you would want. I think he has some, but not necessarily what you would look at a really experienced quarterback. So for him, there's a lot of growing. And it just seemed like when things broke down last week and when he was able to scramble around and buy more time for the guys, it kind of played into his hands. So what I'm going to ask you is, what did you see the same kind of things, and what could you do in the offense off of that to say, okay, do I do more boots and waggles with him? Do I move him around a little bit more? How do I do things to kind of maybe make his life a little easier? So how would you play off of that?
The thing I've noticed about Skyler that's interesting, and we talk about like how Tua was so efficient all year, being on schedule, timing, and everything, if the play is as designed. Skyler's like the opposite. If the play breaks loose and he has to create something off schedule, to me, that's when he's at his best.
Right.
Like he's not somebody, you've never seen Skyler go back and then drop, boom, spot the receiver and fire it away. To me, that's not his game. And yeah, I think he could make a lot of things happen off script. And if you remember, to me, one of the key plays of the game, everybody talks about the pick six. Sure. Guess what? The Dolphins on their next drive had the ball in New England territory, and Skylar Thompson made something out of nothing, scrambled for, I think it was 11 yards for an apparent first down at the New England 25, but oops, Tyreek Hill was flagged for illegal shift. And on the next play, there was the pick.
Right.
And that was that. And not saying they win, but who knows how that game turns out if there's
Mistakes.
not. It's a really bad penalty too. And
right.
Then at least they were in field goal range. So no, but to go back to your original point, yeah, Skyler is somebody, I don't think you put shackles on him where you tell him, stick to the play, stick to the script. If you got to ad lib, dude, ad lib, and let her rip. And obviously, you hope that nothing bad happens if he does scramble. But you can't coach or play like that.
No, exactly. But again, it's when I watch him moving around, he seems more confident in what he's doing, at times. And that's what I noticed at the end of that game. The signing of Mike Glennon, I explained it earlier. I said, look, bro, at this point, week 18, you're not going to get anything. Plus, if you had a decent option that's a veteran quarterback that's 34, 36, 37 years old and has a lot of experience, dude, that guy's not coming back for 1 week. He's not putting his body at risk for 1 week and then spend the rest of 2023 rehabbing. Plus, you're looking for a backup quarterback in the week where Damar Hamlin just had his incident. So they all have wives too, or most of them. And most of those guys, oh, yeah, honey, the Dolphins just called. What? You're going to play for a week? Are you crazy? Are you out of your mind? We don't need the money, this, that, whatever. You know what I mean? Mike Glennon he's still fighting for his career. He still wants to get back in the league. So you can find a guy like that. So to me, Dolphin fans that are overly critical about Mike Glennon, let's not get silly, bro. There's nothing out there at this point. It is what it is. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal.
Expect to sign John Elway or Dan Marino in week 18. I mean, come on. Like you said, look, no, logically, this move is made anticipating Bridgewater is not playing. Tua is obviously not playing. And then if something were to happen with the Skyler, at least you have a guy who has some experience, who's not where the moment's not going to be too big for him, as opposed to Kyle Lauletta, who hasn't thrown an NFL pass since 2018, or Jack Cohn, who's never thrown an NFL pass in a regular season game. So under those circumstances, yeah, I can understand. I certainly can. I get it that you see Mike Glennon, especially since the way he looked when the Giants played here last year. But it's week 18. Ideally, you don't need him. He doesn't play. It just gives you a little bit of a. To me, it's like if something happens to Skyler, Mike Glennon gets to the game. I know some Dolphin fans on Twitter are like, it's over, automatic loss if Mike Glennon has to play. I'm not buying that. I think at least he gives you a fighting chance. Whereas if it's Kyle Lauletta or Jack Cohn, no offense,
you're done.
No offense, then the game's over.
Yeah. By the way, if there's one thing that Mike can do, just sling it downfield. He does have an arm. You know what I mean? He doesn't know where it's going, but with Tyreek and Waddle, hey, just let it fly, and those guys will run under it, and hopefully you can hook on one of those. You know what I'm saying?
Gotta protect him, though, because that dude can't move.
No, he can't move. He definitely can't move. He's a tall, skinny guy. He is the human periscope. Mm-hmm. You know, I think he should have joined the Navy and then go in a sub, because if the periscope ever breaks, call Glennon. Let's go. And, just stick his head out and he'll look around, and, so it's not a bad thing. Mike Glennon could be useful as a human periscope. You got to admit that. That's a good one for him, right?
He's tall.
It's tall. Did you see that meme going around of the zoo that the Dolphins have now?
No, and I'm afraid to ask.
Well, they've got a cheetah, they've got a penguin, and now they added a giraffe. So yeah, that's kind of like it. So So yeah, see, you cover a team and a petting zoo. It's impressive.
I'm not touching any of those jokes whatsoever.
It's a joke. Relax.
I know it's a joke. I'm not touching those.
So yeah, besides that, we're not insulting the penguin or the cheetah. Actually,
correct. We're just insulting the new guy.
Yes, exactly. But it's not like the new guy hasn't heard neck jokes since he was in second grade. You know what I'm saying? I would imagine that they were cruel to him there. All right, so reports are that Tua is in the early stages of the concussion protocol. He's done, right? Like, even if they make it, do you think they're crazy enough to play him? I hope not, but
I don't know.
On the team. What do you think?
He's early enough that he's not back at practice yet, and practice is like, if I recall correctly, I think you do light stuff at practice. That might be the third of the 5 steps, and he hasn't been at practice. I don't want to go there. It just.
Would you play him at all this year? Would you play him? I wouldn't.
Well, to me, I'm like Mike McDaniel. I would like defer to the experts to the experts and medical personnel. If we're like, err on the side of caution, if you're telling me that there's zero additional risk if he's completely cleared in him playing and Tua wants to play, then okay. But again, I would err on the side of caution, and I would defer to medical experts. I certainly would not expect him to play, but that's just a gut feeling. It's not based on anything I know. And again, Aaron,
you told me the Nowinski thing about Nowinski saying, "Hey, Sidney Crosby has given all his concussions time to heal." And I agree with that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And I think they haven't given him the time to heal. And I think that's what he needs this offseason. I think he truly needs time to heal, because what I'm afraid of is, even though it's not officially a concussion, the Buffalo game, I think it ended up being one, because this third one happened. I'm not saying easy, but I'm just saying it was a normal tackle in the NFL. My God, there was no viciousness of that tackle at all. It was just a regular tackle, and that shook your head enough that you're out. That tells me that, you're getting into that zone where you're more prone to it because you're getting your head rattled. And I think you need that time, like Sidney Crosby, because Sidney Crosby's had how many concussions already? Like 6, 7, 8? Something like that easily?
Quite a few, yeah.
Yeah. So,
but again, this is where, like I said, I would defer to the medical personnel. That's why it's not. I mean, you and I can say whatever we want based on what we know, what we read, but no, we're not doctors. So, anyway, Dolphins have to win before we talk about whether to play two in the playoffs. Because if they lose Sunday, it doesn't matter anyway.
I said last week that this was a big game for Teddy personally, for professionally, because next year you're going to want another job, and so now people are going to see that you've been unfortunately injury prone and really haven't starred. So you may not be able to get the money you got this year as a backup next year. Flip side now for Skylar Thompson. Skylar has played more than any of us ever expected a 7th round pick would play. You and I and most everybody else thought that Skylar Thompson was never going to take a snap this season, and he was going to be a pure spectator in a perfect world. That has not happened. He has now played several times now. How important is it for Skylar to show some progress in this game overall? Because if you're the Dolphins, do you say, yeah, Skylar's not the plan B we need. We might have to invest in a real veteran next year. That might be hard to find. Okay, do we like someone else in the draft? And I'll give you, I think I've mentioned it before, but Manny Navarro gave me a great idea. He said, what about Hendon Hooker? And Hendon Hooker's kind of the quarterback that that's where the NFL is going. The guy that can move around and throw the ball and athletic and all that. And obviously you got to work a little bit with Hendon Hooker, and he's coming back from a knee injury, which, by the way, also makes it really perfect for the Dolphins because they take a lot of chances on injured players. But anyway,
how doesn't work out well very often, though.
Yeah, I know. How important is it that Skylar actually shows some progress, because he might also be derailed in his attempt to make the roster next year if they feel they've got to even better that position because of Tua?
Yeah, no, I think Skylar's safe, and I've seen enough. And again, he's been in the same boat as Teddy, where they haven't had Teron Armstead. When Skylar's been in there, he hasn't had Teron Armstead. And don't think that doesn't make a huge difference.
Oh, yeah.
And in fact, it's funny.
Although this week, wait a minute. This week, it really wasn't that much of an issue on the left. Run blocking, of course, that's always an issue for them. But the pass blocking was all right this week. It wasn't really like they were running for their lives this week.
No, it wasn't great, but it's just not the same. It's just flat out not the same.
Greg Little, it wasn't Greg Little. It was all right. It was serviceable.
It was all right. And again, this is weird because because my eyes told me it wasn't great, but it wasn't horrible.
Right.
And according to the good people at Pro Football Focus, it was horrible. They're great. So I disagreed with them last year. I didn't see it as being horrible. It wasn't great either. And I've seen enough from Skylar throughout the season as a rookie 7th round pick. And I'm not buying this crap of comparing him to Brock Purdy. When he plays in the Super Bowl caliber team. Sorry, apples and oranges. I've seen enough from Skylar Thompson to absolutely definitively say there's something there that, short of him completely crapping the bed against the Jets on Sunday, that
it's interesting. You feel like I do about the Purdy situation. Like people don't realize that they're not making him do much.
Correct.
They're because he doesn't have to. It's like Ben Roethlisberger in the first Super Bowl.
Correct.
Kid, just facilitate and stay there. We'll do the rest for you. And that's what people don't understand. They make it sound like Brock, the people that actually don't understand this game, they make it sound like he's carrying the team. And what they're actually doing is doing a magnificent job of managing it and coaching it the right way for him. Plus, he's got all those weapons, a line, a running game, and a defense that shuts down the other team. So you don't have to score 30 points to win games in San Francisco. Just, God, it's so much different. Skylar would look way better in that situation.
Right.
So would Teddy, by the way. Okay? I'm the first to tell you, and I'm not a real big Teddy believer, but if you put almost any decent, half-decent, skilled quarterback behind that line and that team, you're going to get production, dude.
Right. No, I saw some people like, the Dolphins messed up again. They took Skylar Thompson over Brock Purdy. I'm like, come on, really? we're gonna do this. I mean, nobody's ever accused Jimmy Garoppolo of being a great quarterback. He's gone to one Super Bowl and one NFC Championship game. I mean,
Right.
And while at the same time the 49ers keep looking to upgrade because he's not quite good enough. So,
Yeah, and by the way, for any of the Dolphin fans to tell you, well, let's go get Jimmy G. Well, he misses more games than Tua.
pretty much, yeah.
So, he's already missing more games than Tua this year, probably, right? Because he's been injured for several weeks already, so he's missing. So this is like the MO for him. Okay, so here's the follow up to you. Okay, and we're kind of forecasting a little bit, so it's a little unfair to you because we really don't know who's available. What's the plan B next year? Because you have to have a strong plan B, stronger than Teddy. Next year, because Tua is what he is. Yeah, he can play, but he can't stay healthy. So unfortunately, you have to play the game that you cannot rely on him to stay healthy. So what is a realistic plan B? Who would actually come here in your eyes to sit behind Tua and wait for an opportunity, but yet it's somebody that could actually run the offense?
No, we talked about this earlier this week. I mean, it's the same guys. But yeah, it's the Gardner Minshews of the world.
Could you get the guy in Carolina now? Or has he played too well now for that?
Who, Sam Darnold?
Yeah.
Oof.
I know he's terrible, but not the last couple of weeks. It's like, whoa, you found yourself. I don't know. I mean, hey, dude, Rich Gannon figured it out after like 9 years in the league, or 7 years, or 8 years.
Right, that's an outlier, though. I mean, yeah, those guys happen, but they're rare. And again, the problem is if you're asking somebody to come in, you're going to be the clear backup. You're not going to get a. I mean, you're not going to get a stud. That's completely.
No. You're not even going to get Garoppolo.
No, and I've heard Derek Carr's name.
No, you're not getting
with the Dolphins, and I don't want Derek Carr. Derek Carr's to me is.
But you're not getting him anyways. You're not getting Derek Carr. Derek Carr's going to be handed a starting job. Some bad team that needs a quarterback will hand Derek Carr. Dude, the New York Jets may hand Derek Carr the starting job.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
How about Joe Flacco? There you go. Here's one name for you. How about Joe Flacco?
That's interesting. That's interesting. So Sam Darnold scared you off, huh? So the last couple of weeks doesn't even give you any kind of inkling that maybe
I didn't see enough. I know, for example, though, against Detroit, it wasn't Sam Darnold. They won because they rushed for like 340 yards.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. But he's played well. Actually, he's played well the last couple of weeks. For him, he's done a really good, because you're not going to get Geno. You're not going to get. I don't think Sam Darnold might be a guy. Baker Mayfield. Would you bring Baker Mayfield here? Can he handle being the backup without creating any issues?
No, I don't think I think Mayfield is in a good spot with the Rams because of the uncertainty with Stafford's situation, even though Stafford says he wants to play, but he's
although McVay, they say he's gone, right? Which
TV booth.
I don't know, that voice of his on television. I don't know about that voice of his on television. He's got kind of that little whiny voice. Yeah, he has like a whiny voice. That's the thing.
No, but if he goes, maybe Mayfield. But again, is he going to be, he went to Carolina, which was great for him because he was going to start. And then he went to the Rams, which was great for him because Stafford was on, he was starting. Is he going to be comfortable coming in if it's clear to as a starter? No, I don't think that works. You need a guy who's like a backup, which is why Teddy was good in this particular situation, except he started 2 games. He didn't finish either one of them.
All right, what do you got? What do you got going on Sports Illustrated, my friend? So, folks, check you out at alldolphins.com because it is the law. Everybody worldwide, that is the law. The only way you become an official Miami Dolphins fan is by bookmarking alldolphins.com because this man produces about 47 articles a day. Okay,
87. Yep.
I am not misrepresenting him here. At least 47 articles a day. So. Check it out, alldolphins.com. Book it. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I can tell you one thing I have is all those potential scenarios that have been floating around as to what the NFL is going to do. Now, AP had a report that they're not going to complete the Buffalo-Cincinnati game. One of the possibilities, I heard Adam Schefter talking about, they're going to give the number 1 seed the option of taking the bye or home field advantage and giving the number 2 seed the other which to me isn't fair to Cincinnati, because if Cincinnati beats Buffalo, they're in line for that number 2 seed.
Yep.
I don't think that's fair.
How about this? Matt Verderam brought up an excellent point.
Who's that?
If you do this now, then what's the motivation for the Bills to play this week? Because they can't get the number 1 seed, right? So why
They
even
can lose a number 2 seed? That would be their motivation.
Well, Cincinnati, they didn't lose the tiebreaker. They're a game ahead.
They would lose a tiebreaker. I don't know on what, but I checked it out.
Cincinnati has the better conference record. Is that what it is?
That might be it. Yeah.
Right. Okay. So if Cincinnati has the better conference record, okay, so then they do have a motivation, because I'm thinking they would rather just lose to the Patriots and face them again, not have to deal with Miami, because if Miami by some crazy idea wants to bring Tua back, then you've got to deal with that offense. So, I would figure that there is no motivation, but you bring up a very good point. They still have to fight for the number 2, because that still could end up being home field advantage if the number 1 gets knocked out. So, yeah.
Correct. And yeah, I'm not a huge fan of that, because to me there's an issue of fairness. The other scenario that was brought up was expanding it to 8 playoff teams in each conference, like they did in 1982 in the strike-shortened season, if you remember.
I remember.
You're old enough to remember that.
Of course.
In which case, Dolphins still would need to beat the Jets. There's no scenario under which they could lose and still make it. The only thing
I like my idea better. You got the dead week of the Pro Bowl.
Yeah.
So this first week here, you play this week. Next week, Cincinnati and Buffalo play the game. So you settle that game, and no one's traveled. Nobody knows where they're going, so nobody's bought tickets, and nobody's bought plane tickets and hotels. So you're not screwing anybody right now. You tell everybody, hey, we're going to play that game. We're pushing all the playoffs back a week, and we're just skipping the dead week, and we go right into the Super Bowl. And that's what I would do, but I don't know if they have some love affair with milking this thing for 2 weeks and all that stuff. And I don't, the Pro Bowl is not even a game anymore. It's just, skills competitions and stuff like that. So that's what I would do, is just make the 19th week and put it around the Bills and the Cincinnati game and all that. Man, maybe the kid is more, he's already like, communicating all that. Maybe he's talking by then, and you can have him from the hospital bed do the coin flip or something. Have some fun with it and promote the game. It would get crazy ratings. You know what I mean? But maybe they also don't want to play that game, because then they have to relive the conversation of DeMar, and maybe the league wants to just kind of put that away. I don't know.
Yeah, and here's another one that's been brought up as another possibility is put Buffalo. Sorry, I apologize about the things. Buffalo, Cincinnati, week 19, along with the NFC wildcard round. Then the following week, you do the AFC wildcard round and a bye in the NFC, or the NFC does divisional round, and then they have a bye before their conference championship. So then
that's exceptional, dude, because they're not involved in the wild card week.
Correct.
They have no shot at being involved in the wild card week. They do not affect that whatsoever. That is genius. I like that. That doesn't disrupt anything.
So I like that too. I'm not a fan of the idea of not finishing the game, and I understand the logistics of it. It sucks and all that. Yeah, I get it. But in terms of
it means fairness, so much. It means so much.
I hate, and maybe it's my Chiefs fatigue syndrome. I hate the idea of Kansas City being given the number 1 seed, because they're not going to finish that game.
Right? Yeah, that's not fair. Right? It's not fair. Even though they may earn the number 1 seed on their own, because they've done that already all year. But I understand that. I understand your point. That makes all the sense in the world. Yeah. All right. So check it out at alldolphins.com. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Do they win? Normally, folks, for those of you that don't catch this interview during this time, he doesn't put out his predictions till tomorrow. So that's why.
Saturday morning. Here's what I'll say.
Sorry. So I always like putting him in a terrible position by asking him that.
Okay, here's what I'll say. If Armstead plays 55-45, they win. If Armstead doesn't play 55-45, they lose.
Super fair, because he changes the entire game.
Yep. Yeah. Sad. And it's sad. It's sad that the Dolphins, and here's the thing. we talk about him and Byron Jones and the bad luck they've had with both, but it's not a healthy sign that you depend so much on either guy that their absence creates such chaos.
Right.
Like the offensive line is still bad if you're depending that much on Teron Armstead.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
Definitely. Yeah, it's tough, man. All right. Follow him on Twitter at Poupart NFL. Alan, as always, thank you, my brother. We'll catch up on Monday.
Have a great weekend.
Safe weekend, my friend. Thank you. There you go. The great Alain Poupart. And don't forget EJD Construction, man. They know how to get it done. They've been a proud sponsor of our show for many years now. If you live in Dade or Broward County, just Dade or Broward, call my friends at, of course, EJD Construction. Eric does an excellent job. They've been at this for, God, I want to say about 20 years now. They've got a AAA plus rating from the Better Business Bureau. 305-433-4843. That's the owner's cell number. Okay, so you can talk to Eric. Big Dolphins fan, by the way. Loves all the local teams. So big Dolphins fan. But whatever you need, man. And you got to upgrade your roof now because a lot of people are trying to get, re-up their insurance for the hurricane season coming up next year. Well, this year, that is. Well, guess what? A lot of insurance companies are turning a lot of Floridians down because if your home is older than 20 years, your roof may need to be updated and upgraded. Well, EJD Construction can do that for you and many more things. They can build a whole home for you. They can build a second floor, an extra room. You can upgrade that man cave and modernize it. You want to modernize that kitchen. You want to redo everything. One of our listeners had a fire inside their home, and they need to remediate the entire home. They're doing that. They do anything and everything. Full contractor, custom home construction, major home remodeling, and fully insured liability and workers' comp. So if anyone gets injured at your home or your business doing work, you will not get sued. And if you don't know this, please never hire anyone that is not insured. You do that, that's a major mistake because then they can sue you. EJDconstruction.com, 305-433-4843.
You've been
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.